Tactical periodisation is a football training methodology. Its most famous exponent is Jose Mourinho, who won the Champions League with Porto in 2004 using the concept. It's also shaped the ideas of, among others, Villas-Boas, Nuno Espirito Santo, Paulo Fonseca and Brendan Rodgers. But what is tactical periodisation, and why is it so successful? Well, periodisation as a concept has existed in sports since the 1950s, and designs athletic training in cycles that seeks to not only keep athletes in good physical condition by not overworking them, but also to build towards specific competitions. These cycles, micro, meso and macro, referred to time periods. So an Olympic sprinter might work in microcycles on strength, muscle elasticity and explosive power for starts, while building to a series of specific races in the calendar in a mesocycle. And the backdrop to this would be the run-up to the Olympics, which is every 4 years on the macro cycle. Tactical periodisation takes this concept of cycles and applies it to football. It's a complicated model built on the simple premise that everything that happens on the pitch is based on tactics, and so training should reflect that. But tactical periodisation takes all the other aspects of football, fitness, technique, psychology, and trains them within the framework of tactics. Now, it's more complicated than simply doing every session with the ball at your feet, but that's a good place to start when thinking about it. Now, the periodisation structures this. So each training week is built around a cycle that builds up to a game and then allows players to recover from it before building up to the next one. Tactical periodisation was developed by a sports scientist called Vitor Frade, who worked at the University of Porto before taking his ideas out of the lecture theatre and onto the training pitches at Porto, working first with Sir Bobby Robson. Frade blended various ideas, including systems theory, sports science and psychology, to build a model that has influenced coaches around the world. And perhaps the easiest way to understand how this actually works is by demonstration. Let's say that we've taken over Tifo Town FC, and we want to institute tactical periodisation as a method. Now, the first thing required is a game model. These are our tactics, shaped by the club's situation, its requirements, playing squad, and the coach's own philosophy of football. Tifo is going to play a 4-4-2, with wide players tucking in field based on pressing, counter-pressing, and fast transitions in attack. Now, let's assume that the club is happy with this, and we have a squad that is fairly well suited to this style already. Next, we apply this game model to the 4 phases of the game. Now, this is a key part of tactical periodisation because everything is geared towards training players to know what to do in each situation that arises within these 4 phases, and they are attacking organisation, so when the team is in possession facing an organised defence; defensive transition, when the team has lost possession but is not yet organised into its correct defensive position; defensive organisation, when the team has achieved a correct defensive position and is trying to regain possession; and attacking transition, when the team has won back possession and the opponent is not yet in their organised defensive structure. Now, within each phase, different parts of the team are going to need to do different things. And this is where we can start to build our training schedule according to the principles of tactical periodisation. Firstly, we construct a schedule that builds up to matches. Let's assume that Tifo Town play every Saturday. Sunday is our rest and recovery day, and the cadence of training builds to its most intense on a Wednesday. Within our training week, every session is then organised according to scales and principles. Scales are the whole or parts of the team, and principles are the actions we want our team to take during a game. So on a Monday, we might train the back 4 and defensive midfielders on defensive shape in the defensive organisation phase, while they face the attacking 4 who are simultaneously working on their attacking organisation phase. On Wednesday, the most intense day, we'll train the whole team on the main tactical principles, pressing or counter-pressing, for example. And on Thursday, with a specific game in mind, we might work with just the right-sided fullback and midfielder on how to attack the opposition's left-back, or work with a striker on training runs in behind a centre-back we know is slow. Everything is done with these principles in mind. How we want to play in each of the 4 phases, and then broken down into smaller and smaller groups and elements so that we can refine those principles, adjusting them so that specific opponents' strengths and weaknesses can be countered or exploited. And this is what our training schedule might look like. And because the training is periodized according to cycles, each training element is designed to ready players for individual games, while also preparing them for the season as a whole, refining principles and building in any developments that occur in a coach's game model. Tactical periodization works as a methodology for several reasons. Firstly, by keeping tactical principles at the heart of everything a team does in training. Players learn to respond to whatever happens in a match according to those principles. Players also get used to making decisions and responding under physical stress, which mirrors what a game is actually like. Done well, it should mean that a player is very rarely confronted with a situation in a game that they have not been trained to deal with. And also, integrating physical and technical work means that the training gets as close to match situations as possible. And the structure, working to a schedule in cycles and training according to the principles within groups, gives coaches a chance to focus on phases of the game with real intensity while also not losing sight of the overall tactical approach that the manager wants. This is why the idea of tactical periodization as just being fitness training with a ball is too simplistic. And the reason is that football is a complex game, chaotic even. And players need to be able to respond to a huge number of situations quickly and correctly while operating at a certain level of physical stress. Tactical periodization is one answer as to how to get players to do this, and Mourinho and others have shown that if done well, it can be successful and influential.